What's up, everyone? Final principle here to create good habits and break bad habits. It's all about making your habits satisfying. And here it's all about satisfying the craving that you had so that we want to repeat the cycle, the habit loop in the future. And so for this final phase, the reward phase, we focus on making the rewards for taking action satisfying. And why make it satisfying? Because we're more likely to repeat a behavior if the experience is satisfying. Makes sense, right? Pleasure teaches our brain that a behavior is worth remembering and repeating. So pleasure, it teaches our brain this dopamine spike, if you remember, teaches our brain that a behavior is worth remembering and repeating in the future. And think of it like positive or negative reinforcement. What's reinforced is repeated, and what is punished will be avoided. And I think the most challenging part about poker and about certain habits is that we don't necessarily get instantaneous results for our efforts. So we need to find other ways to make our actions satisfying other than looking at the results. Because looking at our poker graph is not always a representation of our skills and abilities. Similar to looking at yourself in the mirror after going to the gym once. It takes time to see the results. So what other strategies that we can use to make our habits satisfying so that we come back the next day and repeat them? And that's why we have principle number 1. Habit tracking. This is probably one of my favorite tools out there. And as I mentioned earlier, we don't necessarily see the results of our work once we finish a behavior. It might take weeks, it might take months, or even years sometimes before we see tangible results. So I love habit tracking because it allows me to celebrate the process of doing the habit itself. It allows me to celebrate the process over the results. Tracking becomes the reward. It becomes a reward in and of itself. It becomes satisfying to see my streak increase. The best example I have of this is meditation. When you're doing meditation, you might not see a change or improvement in your mental state from one day to the other. Like sometimes you'll feel more relaxed and clear-headed, and other days you might feel jittery and all over the place. So it almost feels like there's no fluid progress in your practice. But over time, your baseline will slowly move towards someone who's calmer, more relaxed, more composed, more clear-minded, etc. So when you reflect on your practice after a year of meditation, maybe now you'll notice a difference in your character. And that sounds quite similar to when you're playing poker. Maybe if you reflect on your performance and your results after a year, maybe you'll notice a difference in your skills and in your results. So instead of hoping for a satisfying meditation session, or instead of hoping for a satisfying poker session, which won't always happen, what becomes satisfying is to keep the streak alive. So for meditation, it's about coming back the next day. For poker, it could be something similar. You just need to put in the volume until the results become apparent for yourself, or before the results actually happen. Give yourself enough time to get or see the results of your work. And by actually going with the expectation that you're just trying to keep the streak alive, you're just trying to focus on the process, we remove the pressure of performing at the activity. And so for something like meditation, instead of hoping for every meditation to be the best, if we just show up and try to do it, we remove the pressure of performing in this activity. And this is what actually allows us to simply B, being present with the activity instead of expecting results. So being present at the poker table and playing our best instead of expecting to win every hand or to make a profitable day. Focusing on the process, not the results. So tracking becomes the reward. The process of doing the habit becomes the reward. Could be playing poker, could be studying poker, could be training, could be meditation like I gave you as an example. Okay, sounds like I'm almost saying this every single time, but this principle number 2, I think actually this one is my all-time favorite principle out there. Never miss twice. For all the perfectionists out there, for everyone who are so hard on themselves that they go all out, never allowing for any mistakes, this principle is for you. So some people tend to be all or nothing. If they do something, they go all out. But when they miss, when they make a mistake, they tend to stop completely. So let's say you've been doing a habit for the past 3 weeks every day and you miss one day. That might be enough for you to be discouraged and to give up. And that's where never miss twice comes in. Instead of aiming at perfection, aim at not missing twice. So this principle allows you to slip up sometimes and miss one day. And that's okay. We're not perfect. You're not perfect. However, this principle is there to make sure you don't miss again tomorrow. And this is much more important than missing one day. If you miss 2 days in a row, you're building the habit of missing or procrastinating. And we wouldn't want that either. So the logic here is that it leaves you with the flexibility to miss once while reminding you to not miss the next day. And when you get to that next day, your number one priority will be to do the habit or behavior because you wouldn't want to miss twice. So pride yourself in knowing that you never miss twice, that you show up whenever you miss once. It provides room for error while keeping a certain structure in place in your life. What do you think of this? Principle number 3. Find yourself an accountability partner. So find yourself a partner to do a certain activity. And most likely you're familiar with this one. It can be very useful in poker for studying the game. It's oftentimes more satisfying to come up with solutions with a study buddy than working on your game alone. Well, that's a preference I have. It might not be the case for everyone. And it can also be about telling a friend about one of your goals and asking them to check in on you to see how you're doing. You now get this extra pressure from an outside source, this friend that will check in on you and making sure, did you do what you said you would do this week or this month? And oftentimes that's where I actually come in. I just send you a message every week seeing how your week went, and it forces you to reflect on your actions and see if you are satisfied with how it went. And maybe that's the small push that you need in your life. So for the people here that might feel like they need a small push, maybe it's time you find an accountability partner to make the journey more satisfying. Principle number 4, we're talking about making it satisfying, so using a reinforcement makes sense. Give yourself an immediate reward when you complete your habit. Because your habits don't always provide you with an instantaneous reward, find a way to reward yourself for doing a behavior. So whenever you study poker, take a moment at the end of your study session to write down something that you've learned during that session. And this becomes an indicator that you have become a better poker player. You won't necessarily start winning more money instantaneously or immediately, but you definitely have a sign that shows that you're improving. And for me, that's something that can be satisfying. Just taking the time to note something that you've learned in your study session that shows that you're improving. This can be satisfying. And so similarly, whenever you read a book or watch a training video, what's something that you've learned that can be applied to your life, that can be applied to your poker game? So what's something that can be valuable in those situations? And I like some words, an expression that I like to use in those situations when, like these notes that you take, I call them small wins or small improvements. So if you're the type of person that enjoys learning, this principle might be for you. What's your small win of the day? What's one thing that you've learned from studying or reading? Something that can be valuable and satisfying in and of itself. On the opposite end, we have how to make things unsatisfying. And so using the same idea of having an accountability partner, the fact that you have an accountability partner makes it unsatisfying to miss out on a scheduled session with someone. So you have a reputation to maintain and you don't want to disappoint the person you were supposed to study with. And this force might be sufficient enough for you to not miss a study session, for example. You know this person is counting on you, is waiting on you. So that's one way to make it unsatisfying, knowing that if you miss, you will disappoint some people. I also know some people who do prop bets or contracts where they need to play X amount of hands this month or they get a consequence. So these are external drivers, but they can be very useful in certain situations like this one. So that's how we make things more satisfying. It's all about making the actions rewarding. My favorite one, never miss twice. So keep that in mind. That's it for this video and see you in the next one.